Hi everyone, welcome to Documentary of Crime and welcome to another shocking case. So, don't waste the time, let's go to the video.
Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another real story with you. Whenever we watch anything related to an investigation, whether it's a TV series, a movie, or even a novel, we feel a sense of excitement. It creates a thrill, as if the world of detective work is full of suspense. Such stories make us wonder what will happen next, who the culprit will be, and who the victim is. We also watch with great excitement to see which technologies are used to catch the culprit. 19 years ago, there was a triple murder. One woman and her newborn twin daughters, just 17 days old. After some years, the case was handed from the police to the CBI, but even the CBI couldn't do much and didn't pay enough attention to it. In the end, it was solved with the help of technology. This story shows how the police used modern techniques to finally catch the killer and put him behind bars. This story begins in 2005. In Kerala, there is a one district, and in that place lived a girl named Ranjani. In her neighborhood lived a boy named Dibil Kumar. Since they lived nearby, they would see each other every day. Sometimes he would go over to her house, sometimes Ranjani would go to his house, and gradually the two became friends. Slowly their conversations increased, and eventually they fell in love. In the meantime, Dibil joined the Indian Army. After joining, he was posted to a camp and sent away. When he went away to the camp, Ranjani became pregnant by Dibil. They weren't married yet. Now, when she got pregnant, naturally the thought of society and community came up. What would people say? They would blame Ranjani, tarnish her honor, and think badly of her. All these thoughts started troubling Ranjani's mind. But she knew that Dibil truly loved her and believed they would get married, that he would agree and make her his wife. She told him that she was going to become a mother and suggested they get married. But suddenly, Dibil changed his attitude. He said, "No, we won't marry now." And when she wanted to keep the baby as a symbol of their love, he insisted she should get an abortion. And because of this matter, the two had a big fight. After the argument, Dibil left angrily and returned to his army camp. On the other side, Ranjani had made up her mind that she would not get an abortion at any cost because she truly loved him and considered those children a symbol of their love. She spoke to her mother about it and tried to convince her. At first, her mother was worried, saying, "What will people say if they find out? No one will talk to us, and society will treat us badly. Our honor will be ruined." But Ranjani explained to her mother, and eventually her mother agreed and supported her, saying, "It's okay. If you're happy, then I'm happy too. Forget what society says." And now, slowly, time passed, and when the time for delivery came close, they left their home and went to another city. There, Ranjani was admitted to a hospital for the delivery. When she was admitted, the hospital staff said that complications might occur, and if a cesarean was needed, she might also require blood. Ranjani and her mother were in the hospital when suddenly a young man came in. He introduced himself and said, "My name is Anil. I saw your case, and I know that during a cesarean, blood may be needed. If that happens, I'm ready to donate my blood." When Anil said this to Ranjani's mother, she felt very happy. She thanked him, saying, "Thank you for coming to help us." Then she introduced Ranjani to the young man as well and told her, "See, even in today's times, there are such good and decent people. I never knew someone could help without expecting anything in return." After all this, the time for Ranjani's delivery finally arrived. Everyone was at the hospital waiting for the birth. The delivery happened safely. There was no need for an operation and no need for blood. So nothing was taken from Anil. But still, Anil stayed at the hospital, continuously helping Ranjani and her mother. Ranjani and her mother were very happy seeing Anil's behavior, how he helped them in every possible way, even though he didn't know them at all. Now, When the time came for discharge from the hospital, one day Anil said to Ranjani, "If you want to return to your village, think about what people will say. Once they find out that you became pregnant before marriage and are still unmarried, they will insult you and speak badly about you. The villagers will question you, 'Where did you bring these twin babies from?' They will accuse you and say hurtful things. You've only been away from the village for a month and a half, and during this time, if people realize you were already pregnant before, they will definitely criticize you. So this would cause a lot of defamation for you." Ranjani and her mother realized that, yes, this was true. Then Anil gave them an idea. He said, "Instead of going back to your own village, come to mine. I know some people there who rent out houses. I'll arrange a rented house for you, and you can stay there for some time until everything settles down. No one will find out. Later, if you want to return to your own home after a year or so, people will assume you must have gotten married in the meantime, and no one will question you." Ranjani and her mother agreed. After that, they went with Anil to his village, where he arranged a rented house for them. The two of them started living there, and slowly time passed. Slowly, time went on until February. On February 2006, one day suddenly, Dibil, the man who had left, who had never even seen his children, who, when he found out Ranjani was pregnant, refused to marry her and told her to get an abortion, who fought with her and abandoned her, appeared at their door and knocked. When Ranjani saw him, she became very happy, thinking that perhaps he had changed and now wanted to live with her. Ranjani's mother also felt very happy, thinking, at least he came back even if late, as he spoke lovingly to them. He spoke very lovingly with Ranjani and her mother. He looked at his daughters, showed affection to them, and spoke kindly with Ranjani as well. Then suddenly he said, "Look, we need to get birth certificates made for these two girls, and for that we'll have to go to the village council office." He handed some hospital papers to Ranjani's mother and told her, "You take these papers to the office and the certificates will be made there." Ranjani's mother left the house. Inside, only Dibil, Ranjani, and the twin daughters remained. About 3 hours later, in the afternoon, the mother returned home. As she opened the door, she was shocked and began screaming. On the bed lay Ranjani's blood-soaked body, and beside her were the lifeless bodies of her two innocent baby girls. All three of their throats had been slit, and they were killed that way. Seeing this, Ranjani's mother fainted. Neighbors, after hearing her screams, rushed over. When they saw the scene, they were also shocked. They immediately informed the police. When the police arrived and investigated, it was found that at that time another man had come there on a motorcycle. Some people had noted down the motorcycle's number because it looked unusual and caught their attention. When the police checked the number, they discovered that the motorcycle was registered in the name of a man named Rajesh. When Ranjani's mother regained consciousness, the police questioned her, since she was the one who had left Ranjani alone at home. They thought she might know something. During questioning, she explained that Dibil had come, the father of Ranjani's daughters, and he was the one who sent her to the office. The police began to suspect that Dibil might be behind the murders. Meanwhile, the motorcycle number they had traced was registered to a man named Rajesh. When they investigated further, they found that both Dibil and Rajesh were in the Indian Army. Now, with 2 army men and 3 dead bodies inside the house, the police dug deeper. They discovered that both men had gone missing from their camp. Not only that, they had disappeared without giving any information, without informing anyone, and were also absent from duty. The police tried searching for them through all their relatives here and there, but no clue was found. Time kept passing. What happened in 2006 dragged on until 2010. In 2010, on Ranjani's mother's request, the local police handed the case over to the CBI Central Bureau of Investigation. When the CBI took over, they first recorded Ranjani's mother's statement again. From this, they got an important piece of information. Before February 10th, when the twin daughters were born, Ranjani had often said, even while in the hospital, that Debil had never once come to ask about her or the babies, and that he had told her to get an abortion. After the delivery, when the babies were born, Ranjani had become angry with him. She had even submitted an application to the Kerala State Women's Commission. In that application, she wrote that the father of her two daughters was Debil, who worked in the Indian Army. She had provided his full address and camp details, and she demanded that a DNA test be done to prove that the babies were indeed his. She also wrote that after the DNA test, he should accept them and marry her. And when Ranjani submitted that application, coincidentally, it was in the first week of February, around the 2nd or 3rd. Just a week after submitting it, on February 10th, Ranjani and her two daughters were murdered. On that very day, Debil had come to meet them. When the police looked into Debil, they found that after that day, he never returned to his camp. Neither he nor Rajesh informed anyone where they had gone. Because of this, they know the culprits is Debil and Rajesh. They kept investigating in every possible way, but no clue was found. As time went on, years passed. First, the Kerala police handled the case, but since they found no leads, they passed it to the CBI. Even then, despite continuous investigation, nothing was discovered. The CBI too had no evidence in hand. Eventually, the CBI prepared a charge sheet and presented it in court. It was stated that Debil and Rajesh were the killers, that both of them were murderers, even though they were serving in the Indian Army, but there was no trace of them. The authorities said they had tried every possible way to find them, and since nothing was found, this case should be treated as a closure report. A closure report was filed, the search stopped, and the case was closed. Time passed and slowly the years went by. Then, in 2024, the Kerala police suddenly opened a new department. This department was created with the purpose of solving cases using modern technical and digital methods. New tests had become available, such as brain mapping, voice analysis, and many others. The idea was that old cases where such technology had not been available earlier, cases that had remained unsolved and closed without identifying the culprit or the truth, would now be reopened and solved using these advanced methods. That was the purpose behind creating this department. And now, in that department, all the unsolved cases were brought forward. Among them, they came across Ranjani's case. But when they checked the file, they found that this case had already been handed over to the CBI, which meant the Kerala police technically had nothing to do with it anymore. The entire case was under CBI's jurisdiction. Still, the officers there felt that, even if officially it wasn't their responsibility, this tragedy had happened to a woman from their own state, and two children of their state had been murdered. 18 years had passed, and the killer had not been caught. That, they thought, was a stain on their force. Whether another department was looking into it or not, they believed it was their duty as police officers to pursue justice. So, the Kerala officers decided firmly that, with their new technical team, they would take up this case and solve it at any cost. By then, 18 to 19 years had passed. Most of the case files had been handed over to the CBI, but the police still had the photographs. The photos of Rajesh and Debil dated back to 2006. Now it was 2024, and such a long time had gone by that no one knew how they would look anymore, how their appearance might have changed. The police had to consider all these factors. So the department decided to use their digital wing, which had access to new software. They said, let's try with AI, artificial intelligence. We'll attempt to see how their faces might look 18 or 19 years later in the present day. They took the old photos of Rajesh and Debil and used AI to generate updated images of how they might appear in 2024. They reasoned that if back then they were around 30 years old, today they would be close to 50. Their faces might have aged, their hair might be graying, perhaps they would have beards, their skin a little wrinkled or faded. Taking all this into account, they processed the photos, and finally, the updated images appeared in front of them. So what they did next was take those AI-generated images and begin comparing them with photos on social media, Facebook and other platforms. Since searching across the entire country would be overwhelming due to the huge population, they narrowed it down to the specific regions where the men originally lived. They started checking profile pictures on social media accounts one by one, comparing them with the AI-created images. Sometimes a photo would match 10%, sometimes 20%, sometimes 30%, but none of them were a full match. This process went on for a long time without success. Then, one day in December, they suddenly had a major breakthrough. They came across an old wedding photo of a couple, the bride and groom standing together on their wedding day. When that photo was examined and compared with the AI-generated images, it turned out to be the first one that matched 90%. Until then, matches had only been between 10% and 30%, but this was the first time a photo had matched more than 90%. When this match was confirmed, the Kerala police were overjoyed. They immediately began checking the details from that profile. From the information, they discovered that the photo was from Pondicherry, where a couple lived. But on Facebook, the man's name was listed as Pravin Kumar. At first, the officers were shocked. They thought, "We've been searching for Debil, but the match is coming up under the name Pravin Kumar." Still, the police didn't want to take any risks. The account had an email ID and several other details, which made it easier to track him down. The police reached the couple's house but didn't approach them directly. Instead, officers in plain clothes kept watch. Then one day, a man was spotted leaving the house. The police followed him. As they trailed him, they suddenly called out, "Rajesh!" The man immediately turned around on hearing the name, and at that moment the police caught him. When the police caught him, they interrogated him. Not long after, on January 4th, 2025, the same day Rajesh was arrested, he revealed information about Debil. That evening, the police also managed to arrest Debil Kumar. Now both men were in police custody. During questioning, it was uncovered that after committing the murders, they deserted the army and ran away from their homes. They searched for a place where the police would never reach them. Since they had been to Pondicherry before, they thought it would be safe and settled there. From there, they got married. Both of them married women who were school teachers at the same school. Later, they also started working as interior designers. Believing the police would never find them, they built their new lives there. To erase their past completely, they even changed their names. Rajesh became Pravin Kumar, and Debil Kumar became Vishnu Kumar. But in the end, both were captured. Even though 19 years had passed, the law took its course. Once the AI-generated photo match was made, the Kerala police informed the CBI branch since the case was under their charge. They reported that they had found a man whose face matched 90% with the AI image. They kept sending all information to the CBI. After both men were arrested, the Kerala police handed them over to the CBI. And so, after 19 long years, Ranjani finally received justice, and her two daughters too, who had been brutally murdered, got justice. Whenever people saw the pictures of those two innocent baby girls displayed everywhere, they would think with deep sorrow how tragic it was that their own father had killed them.
So this was today's story and so horrible case. I hope like this. So bye bye.